Hey everybody, I'm Psychosaurus and welcome back to Age of Empires Online. Yay, we're back. And today I'm gonna teach you a little something about farms. Very useful trick, hopefully you'll find it very useful and hopefully it will improve your gameplay as well. But anyway, as you know, farms are very important food source as they are infinite food source, so they are ideal for late game when you need a lot of food and spam a lot of, for example, elephants or your infantry or whatever. But yeah, you might remember that farms also cost quite a number of wood, so before you actually want to use the farms, you just want to use the huntables and herdables and other food sources first, and then once you run out of those and you have enough wood, you'll start building those farms. Now obviously, as you had gathered all the food from the limited food sources, you might have a number of villagers available to you, and so you will want to start placing those farms. But of course, what you might do would be like, hey, you just select them, you shift command them. Now this is a very straightforward thing that most of you would probably do when you don't know these tricks, okay? But yeah, basically what would happen if you shift command them, the villagers will build the first farm, one will stay at that farm, then move on, the rest will move on to the second farm. Once it's done, one stays there, the rest moves on to the third farm, and so on and so on. Now, obviously, this is not really good, okay, if you have a lot of villagers. As you all know, build time, let's say you have 4 villagers, that means you will build that structure in half the amount of time. So only 50%, but obviously if you have 4 villagers on that means the total work time is equal to 200%. That's quite a lot, to be honest. Instead, what you could do would be spread those villagers among the farms one at a time. Yes, it would take the full build time, but at the same time you would have all the farms built at the same time, while if you would just build one farm at a time, it would just keep adding up the time, and then overall it would be terrible, okay? A terrible waste of time. So obviously, as I showed you this, shift commanding, that's one way you would do it. It's still somewhat useful, of course, but the other way you could do this would be like, hey, you select one villager, place the first farm, second, third, and you do it one at a time. Now, obviously, this is very efficient. As you can see, all of them are building their own specific farm, and so they'll build those farms at the same amount of time, so just the 100% of the build time. Very efficient, but of course, as you could see, it took quite a number of clicks, because I had to select one villager, place the farm, select another villager, and then again and again. Now imagine if I had to place them like somewhere over here, that would be just, oh my god, time consuming, right? I would have to go here, find the villager, right, the idle one, then move way over there, place the farm there. That's very time consuming. So yes, it is very efficient, but it is very time consuming. A lot of clicks, sometimes camera movement is there as well. So it's not really very efficient, but it's still somewhat useful. I'll explain later. So next way you could place those farms, you could just place all of those farms. You let them build the first farm. Pay attention. Once the farm is done, you right click it, and then the first villager will just work on it, and the rest will spread evenly among the other farms around. This is very efficient, of course. It's not as efficient as this, but you could see I just place the farms, wait for the first one to finish, and then I just right click it. So it does not require too much from you. It's definitely very effective, as you just place the farms. You don't need to like select all those villages one at a time. No, you just select them, place all those farms, build the first one, right click it. Now, obviously, this has one weakness, as it still requires your attention. There's a demand of your attention. So if you have the free time, you can definitely do this, and it's definitely going to be a great way to save a lot of time, as no need to click everywhere. But of course, attention is needed, and sometimes you just want to pay attention somewhere else. Like, for example, hey, you want to micro those units on the battlefield, right? So you want to place those farms and then move over here and then say, hey, go here, go here, go here. Go here, go here, right? Go here. Stop. So, very good, but demands some attention. So, the next trick I'm gonna teach you, and this one you could find very, very useful. So, you place all of your farms just like before. Now you do this. So, you place all those farms, then you order them to build the first farm. Then you shift order them to build the second farm, and then you shift order them back to the first farm. And you can see they automatically spread. This is very useful. Of course, it's not as efficient as this one, as you would just build the first farm and then they would evenly spread. But this does not require your attention. This is very useful, the trick that you can do all of that. And sometimes the attention needs to be somewhere else, like when you're doing some big battle or you're just trying to survive long enough till you actually get your economy back on with your food production. Very useful, as you don't need to pay attention to this at all. You just place those farms, order them to build the first one, shift command them to build the second one, and then shift command them back to the first one. Very useful. You might have seen me use this a couple times during my legendary playthroughs. It's very useful. Now, I taught you these 3 tricks. Obviously, there are some catches, of course. So, let's start with this one. As you could see, I needed like 1 farm, second farm, and then I ordered them back. But if I had like 3 farms, it would be just better to shift command them again to just build those 3 farms. So obviously this is very efficient, but it demands a number of farms to be placed to be actually truly worth doing it. So I would say like 4 and more farms is definitely a good way to do this. Similarly, I would say to this, although if you have like 3 villagers and you just, that would be just better to just take one at a time and just manually place them. So again, I would say this is good, again, if you have 4 or more farms and you have the time to pay the attention. Obviously, this is more efficient than this way, but requires the attention, okay? So there's the demand of that. So obviously back here, this would be the shift commanding and manually one at a time. So if you do this, obviously you need like less than 3 or less farms. That way you don't spend too much time here and it's still somewhat efficient, okay? But as I said, you could just shift command them, place those farms, and then just manually select those villagers and move them there manually once they are near the first farm. So that way, of course. But yeah, again, this is good for 3 or less farms being placed. This is good when these 2 are good when you have 4 or more farms to be placed. Obviously, this demands some attention. If you have the time to spend some attention here, obviously, just manually place those villagers. If you don't have the time, just shift command it, of course. That you might need your attention somewhere else, so it's definitely worth to keep that in mind. Hey, do I have the time to just click them, manually spread them? Yes, then obviously select 1 villager at a time and place them. If you don't have the time, then shift command it and that should be fine. But if you have 4 or more farms, then obviously if you have the time to pay the attention, then build the first farm and then order the villagers by right clicking onto the build farm. They will spread evenly. If you don't have the time, then obviously place all of your farms, order your villagers to build the first one, and then shift command them to the second one, and then back to the first one. That way it will spread, no need to pay attention. Now I need to warn you, I was actually testing this. One farm is not enough. You need always 2 farms to make this work, okay? Don't try this with one single farm, it does not work. I could actually show it to you.
Piano.
Let me do this. Let's do this. Okay, I shift commanded it, and you will see. See, it did not work. They just went to the nearest farm. Just so you know, it doesn't work this way. But anyway, I hope you find these tricks very useful, and it's definitely a nice way to improve your gameplay efficiency. So I hope you find this very useful in your gameplay. And yeah, make sure to press the like button if you find this very useful. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And then yeah, share this among all the other players as much as you can, because I'll bet that they will find this very useful. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment. How much did you find this useful? This was Psychosaurus. I'll see you next time. Bye.